This is Gary Butterfield.
This is Cole Ross.
This is Monster My Podcast.
And these are Werefoxes and Wererats.
There's a monster in my podcast.
Werefox / Foxwoman.
Yes.
Is problematic.
Yeah. Again, this is the horny writer and artist, and also the one who I think has probably had maybe a problematic divorce.
Yeah, like all women are succubuses.
Yeah, like this is definitely somebody who has had a tough time in family court, I think.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So fox women, werefoxes. So they're solitary. They're the only one that's solitary. They're always elves. Like elves turn into these things.
And if a human is infected, they slowly turn into elves.
So an elf, like their human version of themselves, turns into an elf.
Yeah,
that's weird.
Yeah, that's not. That's weird.
Like, how would those people fit into like elf society and stuff like that? Like, how would you deal with that kind of thing? Like, there's probably a smarter person than me out there who could write an essay about like race identity in terms of this kind of stuff.
Like in terms of like switching back and forth between them, or just like what do elves typically represent in these fictions?
Well, like just like the idea that like your actual, your race changes.
Yeah.
In this, and like how that, as somebody with no sense of racial identity, because I'm just like a white dude.
Yeah.
It would be interesting to see what they think of this idea that like you get bitten by this thing and it's a curse and you get turned into this minority species.
Yeah. Yeah, and it doesn't just say like, oh, you take on the appearance of an elf. It's like, no, you're straight up an elf now. And like, it doesn't lay out like of all of these other paragraphs that are just blocks of numbers. They don't lay out like, yeah, and you gain the proper stat advantages or whatever. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of strange. There's also a weird sexual kind of thing to this too, because werefoxes or foxwomen do not reproduce. Instead, they kidnap young women and convert them to make them their daughters.
I actually like that part. I think that's a cool story hook.
Yeah, it certainly is, but like there's something unseemly going on there.
Oh yeah, with the drawing and stuff, like this is super. This is Roma. This is supposed to be gypsies. I think like Roma. Like that's the idea behind this, with the drawing and with them stealing kids and being loose women who only care about their own pleasure.
Yeah.
Who carry a male harem around and stuff. Like I feel like that's what it's trying to do. Like
there we are.
Pretty gross.
I forgot about the male harem, which is they just charm a bunch of dudes and have them. Yeah, no, I don't care for this one.
Do their bidding. Yeah, this is gross, especially just because it was like certainly written by like a dude who certainly thinks it's kind of horny that happened too. Again, like he's there's part of him who was just like, man, it'd be really hot to be like taken over by this fox woman. Lose all control over my abilities and then like raise some stranger daughter.
It's no. No.
Not into it.
Wererats are like little Robin Hood kind of figures. They're not good. In fact, they're lawful evil, but they are denizens of the sewers and like treated as their own kind of land.
It's very weird that someone looked at a rat and was like, that rat is lawful evil.
Yeah.
Like it respects law, it respects authority and structure, this rat. However, it wants to get ahead in life. Right. Like, how do you extrapolate that from a rat?
I really don't know. There are people who probably know more about rat society and family structure than I do, who can say actually they're pack animals and they have a very strong kind of social order between them. I've only ever seen rats. I think I've told the story about the time that I gave over a New York apartment to rats because I was going to be moving out in 2 weeks. Yep.
Well, come on in, boys. I think the water's fine.
Yeah, but no, like these guys, they live in packs and they just kind of roam the sewers and fight humans, even though humans are the ones who keep the sewers up.
Yeah, because humans are going to be down there. Like, I guess I don't know whether that's true in D&D times, but like, it would make sense for this is not your domain. Like, this is a structure that someone built, and like also. And I know this is a drum that we like beat all the time on the show, but like just choosing to live in a world of shit.
Yeah.
The sewers as a biome for fiction is very strange because anyone who's making that choice, like you already know some very important things about them, like right away.
Right.
You know, like no matter how like lawful evil these guys are, they think of themselves as like more clever than everyone else, you know. And like you can't be that clever if like
like this isn't an aqueduct system or something like that. Yeah, this is
like you're not like you know the like sea mammals. Like you know it's not like oh like I just like it when it's wet and wild. You know, and a little bit like, oh, like my immune system, if I just if I stay entirely clean, my immune system won't get strong. And it's like, no, like I when I shit, it goes down a sluice and sometimes lands on you or your food or your clothes or your wife. Like, where is your pride with this? Like, in what way is this okay, Morlock?
Yeah, well, I mean, but then they just kind of track it back up onto the surface when they go to the bars to drink our cheap alcohol.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's the only thing I liked about this whole entry, the thing that I was thinking about was like, you know, they go up to the surface to drink our shitty beer and like start fights and stuff. But I like the idea of like stumbling across a sewer bar full of these things. Like they set up their own bar, like a raider camp in Fallout 3.
Oh,
you know, something like that.
Yeah.
You know?
My favorite thing about these guys is that mothers would make their children scared of them by describing them as boogeymen.
Oh yeah, because these still kids too.
Yeah.
Like this is the you know the stealing kids week, like stealing kids day. You know, so like you'd be like, oh man, if you don't do, you know, if you're not a good kid, like a Wererat will come and take you, and then they will.
Yeah.
So I can get down with that.
Yeah.
Like I don't, you know, that's an easy adventure hook. Yeah. Why they do it though? I mean, I guess like I guess it's gross. Like you raise them eventually to be, you give them the curse, so then like they become like mock Wererats.
Yeah.
You know, that's a weird idea. The idea like if you can propagate your species without a genetic tie, like it's just like anybody I bite becomes part of my family.
Yeah.
You know, that's a weird idea.
That's explored really well in like Salem's Lot and the Dark Tower series, actually, like the difference between type 1, type 2, and type 3 vampires.
Okay.
Actually, like they go into it in a kind of like in a really cool and not at all boring way. But yeah, like,
well, I mean, the rules of systems like that are a big part of the appeal of like sci-fi.
Yeah.
Is like, you know, having those kind of like those sets. Like, like a lot of the best sci-fi is kind of half Dungeons and Dragons book anyway.
Yeah.
You know, or best fantasy, where it's like, oh, these are the rules of this magic, and like, oh, this is a rule set. That's enjoyable to read because it's internally consistent and like, sounds like it makes sense. You know, it doesn't have to be like the, you know, Salem's Lot and the Crunchy Chronicles about like, you know, like fight transfers.
Oh yeah, I mean, it just explains why every single vampire is not Barlow, you know? Ravenloft, man.
Ravenloft. Forget it, Jake.
Brought to you by our backers at patreon.com/duckfeed.tv.